Midwest College Football Podcast, joined as always by Clinton Boring. My name is Ryan Sadkowiak. Mr. Clinton, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing good, man. I got a little man to bed. I got to have a little homemade strawberry ice cream and sprinkled a few chocolate chips on there for dessert tonight. So it was pretty good. Eager to talk about these Big Ten predictions. I'm curious to see where you are on some of these teams and maybe if we'll upset or make some fan bases happy tonight.
I had precisely one Oreo for dessert.
Not bad, not bad.
Just a singular
vegan.
Oreo.
They're vegan, so they're healthy, right?
Wait, are they really?
100% vegan.
Like that large shit that's in the middle is vegan.
I promise you, they are vegan. I work with a coworker right next to me who is vegan, and she has 100% confirmed to me that they are vegan.
Hold the phone. Hold on. Are Oreos vegan? Many vegans refer to Oreos as accidentally vegan, meaning they don't contain animal products, but they weren't created to be a specifically vegan treat. Oreos do not contain milk, eggs, or any other animal-derived products, so they are technically vegan in that sense. That's... I learned something new tonight. That makes you wonder, what the hell is in the middle of an Oreo?
That's what I'm saying. They didn't put any dairy product in there. What am I eating?
So the worst part is it was one of those like mega stuffed Oreos.
Oh boy.
You know the ones I'm talking about where it's like the width of your pinky finger with the
that 500 calorie Oreo.
Yeah, so apparently I just ate a bunch of non-animal derived product lard something.
Guess what? My strawberry ice cream was made with all dairy product and it felt pretty good going down my stomach. So
well,
what a way to start the show.
How about that? Clinton's not gonna poop for the rest of the week, and Ryan just ate something. We are live on YouTube again. A totally safe for work podcast. You can find us Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night on the YouTube channel at ITPCFB there. Subscribe to the show on the YouTube. I think we're up to 30 subscribers. That's good stuff.
Yeah. That's great, guys, because like a month ago, we were at like 10.
Yeah, so, man. So if y'all... Cheers. Yes, as noted last night, at some point, we're going to do some YouTube-specific content, maybe, possibly. It's in the works. It's being hypothesized. If you would rather listen to us, however, in the morning on your commute on the podcast feed, you can find us there, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your shows. We are at Inside the Pylon, a Midwest College Football podcast there. Drop a rating, drop a review. We would greatly appreciate it. It helps us grow the show. And if you have any constructive feedback, or if you just want to yell at us, we would be very happy to read your review on the show and either take it to heart or laugh at it.
Or yell back.
That's also a possibility. Or you can find us on Instagram or Twitter at ITPCFB there as well. Interact with the show. It's football season. We're talking football all the time. If you want to talk football all the time, come talk football with us on the Twitter. I'm sure there will be a lot of talk about from tonight's episode if people are listening to it, because it is. I should have put a hot takes button in here. I don't think I have anything that even remotely resembles a hot take sound in this thing. I have I can only preview
5 burning questions.
That's the closest I got. Burning questions. Burning hot takes tonight. We are talking hot takes from the Big Ten. It's not really hot takes. It's more so a prediction show. We're going to roll through and we're going to look at the over-under win totals that we talked about with all these beat writers over the last 7 weeks, and we're going to give our takes on them. We'll talk about the Big Ten title game as well as Big Ten team that we are most fascinated in following along with this season. Clinton.
Sounds good to me. I'm excited. I'm really curious. Not curious. I'm excited to talk about these over-unders, which we got via DraftKings. We went through DraftKings to figure those out, but to see how we have applied all the knowledge we've gotten over the last 2 months to each one of these Big Ten teams and see where we each shake out. I'm curious. Let's set an over-under line right here, Ryan. What do you think is a good over-under line for us to have how many teams in common?
We get? Oh, how many teams in common? I thought you were going to say how many we get right. I was going to say pick the under. Pick the under. It will definitely be the under.
Yeah, I was going to say how many you and I have similar.
Honestly, I think we're doing 19 of them. I think it's probably going to be like 14.
I'm gonna say 15. I'm gonna go over 14 there.
All righty. Okay. All right. I'm not going to lie to you, man. I did not do the math on this to figure out if the math is going to math for all of this.
I didn't either.
So if someone has too much time on their hands and they crunch the numbers and they're like, well, mathematically, you can't have Northwestern and UCLA over because then that would not work.
Guess what? It's our show. We'll do whatever the hell we want.
I didn't go that in depth to figure it out. I thought about doing it for about 13 seconds and then decided that sounded like too much work and no one actually cares. So we're just going to let Jesus take the wheel tonight. And if the math works out, the math works out. If it doesn't, well, this is a bad at math podcast and we never claim to be a good one. So
we're physical therapists, not mathematicians.
That's true. I got to use my calculator when I'm adding numbers up. So take that, Mr. Strawbridge. You told me in 7th grade that I wouldn't have a calculator in my pocket. Well, guess what? I got one on my wrist, my dude. I really like Mr. Strawbridge. He's a good dude. I don't think he's listening, but if you are, what's up, Mr. Strawbridge? So how do you want to? Are we just going to go alphabetically here, Clinton? Start at the top.
Let's do alphabetical. Let's start alphabetical at the top.
Can we take a brief moment to appreciate that there are 18 teams in the Big Ten, and the Big Ten alphabetically starts at Illinois?
Couldn't have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. That is, if my math is correct, approximately 1/3 of the alphabet that is not represented in the Big Ten at all.
Notice, folks, he counted on those fingers.
I literally had to, not only that, but I could not tell you what letter of the alphabet I was. I had to go do the ABC song because I couldn't figure that out off the top of my head.
Listen, I got ABCDs down since becoming a parent, especially with our second son, because he likes to pick and choose what songs I'll sing to him, and he likes to be sung the ABCs. So I might be able to do it backwards. I don't know. Maybe sometime I'll give you a performance Z to A backwards and see if I botch it.
Listen, man, there is a finite amount of space in this brain. And if I remember what letter of the alphabet I is, then I might forget my mom's birthday. So I did the cost benefit analysis of that. And I figured mom's birthday was a little bit more important.
As long as it's not Sam's birthday. Can't forget her birthday.
No, I'm not even going to joke about that right now because I think she pokes it every now and then. If she heard me make a joke about that, I think I would be sleeping on the couch tonight. So let's dig into it. We have Illinois at 5.5 here for the Illini. We'll hey, do you want to go through the notable things on the schedule at all, or do you just want to send it? I feel like if we go through every schedule, we're going to be here for an hour.
I say we send it, and then we can kind of just give a brief little talk about it. I made a little note for each team just to mention something if we need to. Otherwise, we're not just saying over, under, and then show over 10 minutes.
Sell, Matt Money!
So I think if we do a little toss in there, I don't think it's going to take too long there.
Okay. Do you want to start us off?
Yeah. So we got first up, the Illinois Fighting Illini. Good Lord, get your words right. Having a stroke on live TV. Over under 5.5 wins. I went with the under. I do not think they're going to hit the 5.5.
You suck.
The only two locks I see are Eastern Illinois, Central Michigan, and the only toss-ups I have are Purdue, Northwestern, Michigan State, and that does not get them over 5.5.
I'm going to keep track of these as well, and then at the end of the year, we can compare and contrast.
Our over-under? Okay.
Yes. Because I also have the under. We're off to a rip-roaring start. No, looking at the schedule right now, I'm looking at Oregon, Michigan, and Penn State as definitive losses. I don't think that they're going to have much success against Kansas either. I think they'll probably end up losing to Nebraska, probably Rutgers. So we're already at 6. Then you got to be perfect against Michigan State, Northwestern, Minnesota, and Purdue in conference. I agree with you. I think the Eastern Illinois and Central Michigan game should be gimmies in the non-con. But if they're not, then they're definitely not going to go over. So I am in agreement with you. We're going under on the Illini.
We talked about it last night, too. If Jalen Daniels is healthy, and he should be, what is that, game 2 of the season?
Game 2 of the season.
I think Illinois is in big trouble. Even though they're coming to Champaign, Daniels is a dynamic nightmare. And I don't know what we're going to get from Illinois' defense. So
Yep. Jalen Daniels, Devin Neal, I'm fairly high on Kansas this year. We talked about that last night. I think I got them preseason 19. So
yeah, Jalen Daniels was your boy. What, 2 or 3 years ago now in fantasy.
No, I drafted him last year and he missed the whole year.
Oh, that's right. Because we kept debating every week, is he going to play this week?
And
then it'd be like he gets rolled out one week when you had him starting one week.
Right? Yeah, no, I think because they were really bad about updating the injury report, and I think I think they're playing like a noon game, and I look and it was like Jalen Daniels is not playing. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me! Change, and I couldn't change it, so that took a. I still think I won that week, but anyway.
Yep. That is the one negative of college fantasy football, folks. Late injury reports. You better stay on top of it.
Yes, there is no standardized injury reporting in college football as there is the NFL.
They're working on it, though. I've read they're trying. So, because of the betting, of course, they want the injuries known.
Listen, man, it's college football season because I finally have action in the DraftKings account.
There you go.
Good times.
All right. Do you want to give us number 2, or you want me to read it off? You want
Indiana, we have also 5.5 for the Hoosiers. I will go first this time, Clinton, as you graced us with your pick first. Last time I have the over on the Hoosiers. I think the fighting Kurt Signettis are going to be bowl eligible this year.
I definitely went over on this.
Oh my God, we're 2 for 2.
Did you not see the tweet I posted out yesterday? The Signetti cigarette in someone's yard that is like smoking. It's a giant cigarette. That thing is awesome. You have to go back and check it out.
That's funny.
Someone is a diehard Indiana fan. Locks over FIU, Western Illinois. I put Purdue. I think they're going to beat Purdue as a lock. In addition to Charlotte. So they just have to find 2 more wins. And with UCLA, Northwestern, Michigan State, and Maryland. I think they can do that.
And Washington coming to Bloomington as well. So it's
I can't count. That would be 1 more. No, it would be 2 more. I'm right. Never mind.
Yeah. You're good. Yeah, I think they'll probably. I mean, we'll have a good idea week 1 what direction this is trending, because they're not going to make up ground late in the season because 2 of their last 3 games are Michigan and Ohio State. So if they're sitting at 4-5 with 3 games to go, I don't think they're going to get to bowl eligibility.
No.
But I agree. I think they honestly might start 4-0 depending on how that trip to the Rose Bowl goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
which would be a fascinating story.
We got a ways down the list, but I'm curious how you and I are going to rate UCLA here. But
next,
we got the Iowa Hawkeyes.
So
sitting at 8.
Yes, this number definitely came up because I think when we talked to Tyler in July, I think it was at 7.5. And I remember we talked before that show and we were both like, what the hell is going on with this number?
Yeah, I'm still at what the hell is going on with this number because I picked the over.
Yeah, man, I'm with you. I agree. But I have cause for pause because it's a stinky line. Do you know the stinky line mythology? I know you're not really a big gambler.
Do not.
So the stinky line mythology is when you're looking at a betting line and your first thought is, well, that doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. Somebody must know something that I don't know. So somebody knows something about Iowa that I clearly don't know because I'm looking at the schedule. And in the non-con, you got Troy and Illinois State. That looks like 2 wins. The Cy-Hawk game is definitely going to be a difficult one. I think they should win that game. Mm-hmm. Minnesota, they should probably win. Ohio State, they should lose. But then Washington, Michigan State, Northwestern, Wisconsin, UCLA, Maryland, and Nebraska. That's a lot of – I don't even think there's really a toss-up in there. I mean, I could see them dropping 1 or 2 of those just because the Big Ten is weird. And if Iowa's offense is not any better and their defense just takes a small step back, maybe they lose another one. But at the worst, the worst they're going to push. I just don't see 4 losses on this schedule.
Mm-hmm. I concur. I think they're a 10-2 team, but I agree. Nebraska and Wisconsin, I believe those are both towards the end of the season. Obviously, Nebraska is the last one. Those are tough matchups. And the what fascinates me is going to be the change. I know we saw it last year, but hopefully Fickle's offense is taking a step in the right direction. Mm-hmm. But the Iowa-Wisconsin games of old, you'd be sitting there in the 4th quarter and it's 7-3, ready to beat your brain off a wall. Mm-hmm. Are they going to score any freaking points, man? Mm-hmm. I mean, it might be that way this year because Iowa's defense might be so elite that Wisconsin might not be able to move the ball. But
yes, I don't
know.
Right,
though, Iowa State tough. I think they're at worst 9-3. That's my lowest for Iowa.
if y'all want a hot take, I think that there's a better. And listen, I'm 100% prepared to be wrong on this, but I think there's a better chance Iowa makes the playoff than Iowa going 8-4 or worse.
I 100% agree with that take.
I don't like betting win total numbers because that's just money that's locked up for 4.5 months. But if that was something that and so we talked about this at some point. That didn't we do an over under episode already? Or am I making this up?
I had to try to predict.
Oh, you were guessing. That's right. So as we talked about in that show, like these lines are not all created equal. It's not even odds on both sides. I did not write down what the odds were because DraftKings anymore. So it took me forever just to find the numbers. I was not going to write down what the odds were as well. So there's not equal payout depend on each side of the line. So I think this is probably one where the over for Iowa is, or it's more juice for the under.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably one of those, like you bet $10, you get like $17 back or something like that. It's not like a huge payout, but if I was a better on this type of bet, I would be all over the over on Iowa because I think at worst they push and you get your money back.
Yep, I agree.
Next, we are going the Terrapins, Maryland at 6.5. Clinton, I am going under.
I am also under.
Damn, dude, we might actually go 19 for 19 on this. This is annoying.
This podcast sucks.
Yeah, where the hell's the arguing? No, I think this is going to be a weird year for Maryland because I think they're very likely to start 4-0, potentially 5-0, depending on how you feel about Indiana, and then maybe even 6-0, depending on how you feel about Northwestern. And then I could see them losing their last 6 games.
Which also too, I keep hearing, and this is product with, I think it was just a Solid Verbals ACC preview. Don't they have Virginia on there? Or am I thinking of the wrong?
That's the third game of the season.
They're expecting some improvement in Virginia. It's not like they're saying they're going to be bowl eligible or something, but I feel like Virginia has been riding pretty low these past few years. So Iowa Tally is not there to save them anymore.
No.
Their defensive backs they've had aren't there to save them anymore that they put in the NFL. So this is a tough year for Loxley. And speaking of locks, I have UConn Villanova as their only 2 locks. I think lock losses are Oregon, Iowa, and Penn State. I don't think they can beat any of those 3.
Yeah, that's another one where if you're looking, so they have a bye week on November 2nd, 4 games after the bye week. If they are sitting at 5 wins, I don't know if they'll be at 5 wins by there. They'll probably have more than that by this point, but I don't know. It's going to be tough sledding to win a game in November for them because they don't play the first week, and then you're at Oregon, you host Rutgers, you host Iowa, and you're at Penn State. I think Rutgers is going to be pretty good this year. That's going to be a tough game to win, and that's the easiest of those 4 games. So that's a hell of a stretch to end the season there.
Absolutely.
Okay. Next,
I
have Michigan
Wolverines. They are a 9. I believe weren't they 9.5 at one point, or have they been 9 for a while?
I think it depends on where you look. I think they've been at 9 for a minute.
Okay, so they are 9. Let's see how we go here. I went push.
Wow, real bold of you.
We did it again.
No, I went under.
Okay. Wow.
Just because I don't want to push, honestly, and I don't feel good about this, but I am gonna need to see it with whoever the quarterback is before I buy in on Michigan because the defense. And I mean, it's just such a weird place to navigate because, and we've talked about this before. We literally have evidence of what an offenseless Big Ten team looks like. It was Iowa last year, and they still almost won 11 games. The issue is that Iowa team is not playing 3 playoff teams plus USC. I think I don't feel good about this. I would not touch this if I were to. Honestly, I would probably bet the over because I think there's more There's probably a better likelihood with that defense that they would go over than they would go under, but I'm just trying to be a little bold here. I think they'll probably lose Texas, Oregon, Ohio State. I think they'll be competitive in all those games. I'm not sitting here saying they're going to get blown out, but I think they'll probably drop an early season game too, just because they're still trying to figure out the offensive line and the quarterback, and that's just not a winning proposition. But I still, is it going to be the best 8-4 team of all time? Maybe, but I don't know. Until I see it with the quarterback, I'm not buying on Michigan. As soon as I see it with the quarterback, oh boy, they're going to be dangerous if they got the quarterback position figured out. But
we brought it up again last night with Broom, the fact that he said they have to teach Alex Orji how to play the quarterback position. That does not instill a lot of hope for me, given that your other option is a seventh-year quarterback. Yeah. I know you have other options, but those two seem to be the front runners at this point. Mm-hmm. I'm looking here. I put push. I think of the four, they're going to have 3 losses in the 4 big ones that they have. They're going to sneak one out. Obviously, I think the most likely is USC. But I've also been quoted on this show saying that do not discount Michigan in November when Oregon has to go there. They're going to be settled more in their offense. They're at least going to know what they have at quarterback at that point. We know their defense is going to be elite. Can Oregon overcome that defense, or can Michigan's offense score enough to get the win? But I would not discount Oregon losing that game to Michigan there.
We know the funniest possible outcome for the season, right? It's Michigan looking terrible against Texas, losing to USC, looking better, but still losing to Oregon, and then beating Ohio State to end the season. Like, that's the funniest possible outcome for this Big Ten season, is Michigan goes 9-3 and beats Ohio State on the last weekend.
Yeah. That I don't want to go.
You don't look amused.
I don't want to be at that scenario again, Ryan. I don't want to live through another season. Listen, I don't know. I've been told this a couple times. I don't know how you feel like this, but I've been told a couple times that I am more of one of the most realistic OSU fans people have met. If Ohio State deserves to lose a game, I am not going to sit here and whine on this podcast or to people, but the referee didn't throw a flag for him. Where? No, you shouldn't rely on referees or one play to come down and change your game. Like, you could do enough plays throughout the course of a game to earn your victory. That's just not Ohio State, Michigan. That's any game. I don't want to hear you boo-hooing because the ref called a pass interference. Do something better other in the game that you didn't need to rely on that to make the play for you. The only time I would say I've ever erred on the side that the refs might have cost the game was the New Orleans Saints Los Angeles Rams game that sent the Rams to the Super Bowl, when the Rams DB blatantly blew up the wide receiver 5 minutes before the ball even touched him. And I'm like, that puts the ball on the goal line. I'm pretty sure Drew Brees is going to score a touchdown there, and then you lose. Mm-hmm. So that one cost the game. But 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to sit here and boohoo with Ohio State stuff. You want to beat Michigan? You want to be better? Go prove it. Until then, they're better than you. Sorry, folks.
All right. We opened up the Clinton can of worms there. Sorry about that, guys. Michigan State next. Let's talk Spartans, the other team in Michigan.
Little brother? Big brother? Twin brother?
Stop that.
What are they?
You stop that now. They're the East Lansing Spartans. 5. we're at 5 for Michigan State, Clinton. What do you have for the Spartans?
Push it real good.
Oh,
baby.
No, you did not do that. You're going to push here too?
Yes.
Oh my God. I hate these. I hate these flat numbers. Just give me a half. I want to go over or I want to go under. I don't want to push.
I thought the same thing too. I thought you weren't allowed to do that. I thought you had to have halves. This is why I don't bet, because I don't know a damn thing about it.
No,
but I'm pushing.
Yeah, I pushed as well.
All right.
This is stupid. Trucker. This is stupid. The only reason we haven't done the same one on every single one is because I went stupid bold with Michigan for some reason.
And I pushed.
Oh my Lord. Yeah. So Sparty, I feel like 5's a good number for them. There's a lot of tough on this schedule that we talked with Brendan a couple weeks ago, or I guess that was last week, 2 weeks ago. I don't remember. At some point in the last 10 to 14 days, we talked with Brendan on our Michigan State preview about that 4-game stretch in the middle of the season, hosting Ohio State at Oregon. Well, I guess a 5-week stretch, because then there's a bye, but then you're hosting Iowa and you're going to Michigan. That is going to be very difficult, and I very likely see Michigan State going 0-4 in those games. And then depending on the team's psyche, depending on how those games go, like if you get your doors blown off in 3 of the 4, what's the rest of the season going to look like? I don't know, but their non-conference schedule, you got Florida Atlantic and Prairie View, you should win both of those
Lock
games.
wins.
I think Boston College is going to be a little spicy, and you're at Chestnut Hill. That's going to be tough.
I've heard Castellanos is a pretty good quarterback. He's dynamic. You better have a defense with Bill O'Brien coaching him too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, Sparty.
Yeah, man. It's so if you're 2-1 in the non-con, you got to get 3 wins in the Big Ten slate. And we already talked about the first. Well, the first game is Maryland, then the next 4 we talked about those. So at best, you're probably 1-4 going into your last 4 games against Indiana, at Illinois, Purdue, and Rutgers. 3 of those at least are toss-ups. I don't think they're going to beat Rutgers, although hosting them on Thanksgiving. Wait, that's not Thanksgiving weekend. When is Thanksgiving this year? Never mind. That's not important. I'm going 5 because I think they'll probably end up taking 3 Big Ten games on top of the 2 non-con.
You got me sitting here thinking about turkey now, Ryan. Way to go. Turkey, mashed potatoes, gravy, and freaking peanut butter pie. Now I'm completely off my rocker on this damn prediction show because I want Thanksgiving dinner.
Sorry.
That's all right. I agree, though. I think Florida Atlantic, Prairie View, they're locks. Lock losses, OSU, Michigan, Oregon, Iowa. Of those big 4, Ryan, which one do you think Michigan State's most likely to upset?
Probably Iowa.
I think that's the easy answer. Let's eliminate Iowa of the other 3.
Oh, my gosh. I don't know, man. They're not beating Ohio State, and they're not beating Oregon.
No,
So I guess Michigan? They're not beating Michigan. They're not beating any of these teams.
No, I agree. It's Iowa. Iowa would be the one. Iowa has a bad defensive game, and Aiden Childs makes them pay a little bit. Connecting with Jack Veiling, our new tight end heartthrob.
It's just like pull it out. Like even if Aiden Childs is as good as we think that he could be, they're not scoring on Ohio State or Michigan anywhere near enough. Even if Michigan's offense is still bad by the end of October, they're not scoring anywhere near enough on Michigan to make that a game. Yeah. And even if they do get the Ducks have a good defense too, even if they do get them a couple times, Oregon's just going to score 70 on them.
Yep. You're not going to have. I know we talked about that they have some solid DBs. You're not going to be able to cover Tez Johnson and Evan Stewart. That is too much speed. I don't know if anyone's going to be able to cover that. It's just so much speed. But I don't know. I think 5 is the right number. Vegas did a nice job there with Sparty. On to the next one. Golden Gopher, the Minnesota Golden Gopher, sitting at 5.5. Ryan, what did you go with? Over or under?
So when we first talked about these numbers, I was hard on the under. I think that I got talked into doing the over.
I was also pretty hard on for the under, but now I am hard on for the over. We are the same thing again.
Listen, this is a safer word podcast.
As long as you click the YouTube video for kids, then it goes into the safe section.
That's not for kids. I don't feel good about this number. I think 5.5's a good spot because Thursday, at least you're hosting UNC. I think that they can get them. They should then beat Rhode Island and Nevada, but you're starting conference play against Iowa, you're at Michigan, and then you're hosting USC. That's 3 tough games to start. I think, they'll probably beat UCLA. Then you got toss-up game with Maryland. They should probably win that. You should probably beat Illinois. Rutgers should be a toss-up game. Then Penn State and Wisconsin. That's a tough way to end the year, man. That's
Did you mention USC in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if they're sitting at 5 wins going into those last 2 games of the season, I'm not going to be very confident that they're going to hit the over, but we're going to go with it. I think the Gophers get bowl eligible this year. Go Gophers.
I tweeted it out today, and thanks for all the responses, Gopher Nation. You guys do a great job interacting. I think Brosmer is going to be sneaky good, man. Brosmer is going to be sneaky good.
The FCS to FBS jump is a weird one because there's been a couple of dudes who've done it recently, but I feel like by and large it doesn't go great.
I think Cam Ward was probably the last prime example I can think of that has turned out pretty decent. I don't know if Brosmer is Cam Ward. He might be better. He's did a lot of records or a lot of passing in the FCS. So the one thing he can lean on at least is those are going to have a pretty decent O-line. They've got to fix the defense, but pretty decent O-line. And you have Darius Taylor, barring his health. You have Darius Taylor to lean on the tote the rock. So that's a good couple pieces there to have to help you adjust to the Big Ten level.
Next, we have Nebraska.
The
7.5
darling
for the
Huskers.
For the Huskers.
Over, baby. Over.
I am also over as well. This is not good radio. I'm gonna have
We're
to
not
change
the
my
USC
pick
yet.
I'm gonna have to change one of my picks just to argue with you about something. So with this, I am operating under the assumption that Nebraska is going to start 5-0, which is a pretty dangerous assumption because I don't think they've done anything to prove that they're worth the benefit of the doubt on that. But UTEP, Colorado, Northern Iowa, and the non-con, I mean, they should win all those games. Hold on, I'm going to sneeze.
We get one sneeze an episode from Ryan. This is
I know.
4 episodes in a row.
Well,
This is pretty
listen,
legit.
they usually happen when I'm not talking, which is fine because then I could just be and mute my mic and no one is worse for wear. But that one came, that hit me pretty quick there. So I think the Colorado game is going to be key. If they beat Colorado, I think they're going to start 5-0. Then you have those 2 right before Ohio State, Rutgers, and Indiana. I'm fairly high on both of those teams. So I'm classifying them as toss-ups, but at worst, Nebraska should be 5-2 going into Ohio State. So then you're 5-3 after Ohio State, which means you'd have to win 3 of your last 4 against UCLA, USC, Wisconsin, and Iowa. It's doable. I would feel a lot better about this pick if they started 7-0, though. I'm not going to lie to you.
Or even 6-1.
Yeah.
And that's where, when I wrote this up, that's what I had them. I said 7.5 over, 6-1 heading into OSU. Then you have to find 2 more wins post the OSU game: USC, UCLA, Iowa, Wisconsin. I think you get them right away. I think you get them at UCLA and USC. I think they're going to beat USC. I really do.
Boy,
I think they have a vaunted
dogging
defense
on USC.
I'm sorry, man. I don't believe in them this year. I think outside of Oregon, all 3 of these new teams are really going to struggle. If Washington didn't lose all their players, sorry, Roman. I not hating on your Huskies, man. I don't see it this year. I think they might be solid, but I think Nebraska's got it. I think they're getting the turnaround. I believe in the Matt Rule year 2, year 3 progression, plus Dylan Raiola, and a defense that finished top 15 or 13 in the country last year. That's hard to bet against. Don't turn the ball over. Redcast Rob said it simple. Don't turn the ball over, 31 times, and you'll find yourself winning some games.
I think just some progression to the mean, however you want to phrase that, just with the turnover luck, I think is probably going to be good enough to get them a couple more wins.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, next we got Northwestern 4.5 Clinton.
Well, Ryan, I think that the mistake by the lake is going to help them get to the over.
God dang it! Jesus! I hate you! You ruin everything.
What was I, a usurper last night? Upsurper? Is that what you called me?
No, you're a usurper.
Usurper.
You keep usurping my picks. I
believe in him, man.
I have over 4.5, and I feel like they honestly might hit this by game 5.
Yeah. I have locks Miami, Ohio, Duke, Eastern Illinois. That right away is that their first 3-0. I think Duke's going to be a joke despite Manny Diaz. And then Malik Murphy's their quarterback this year. So talented piece. But I'm a big believer. I'm going to botch another coach's name here. David Braum. There we go.
Bingo.
I'm a big believer in him. He stepped in a very weird situation last year and got this team to 8-4.
Yep.
That's great, man. Now, Mike Wright has to play good at quarterback. We'll see what he's got. But I think they're going to have better quarterback play this year. Sounds like they're going to have improvements in other places. They're going to play solid defense. So give me the over, man. I don't think 4.5 is that big of a stretch.
Northwestern fans, when your team starts 0-2, you can come back and blame us for that.
Oh, gosh. We put a jinx on them. Sorry.
We did. Okay. Ohio State, Clinton, 10.5.
Oh, hold on. I know we're in the Big Ten, but I want to treat it alphabetical. Okay. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish sitting at an over-under of 10. Mr. Ryan Sakoviak, what is your call here, sir?
Well, I told you last night I think they're going to push.
I also think they're going to push.
That's now. So Notre Dame season is going to play out one of two ways, and it should both be fine. Either they're going to lose to Texas A&M, and then they're going to end up losing again because the world hates me, and that's how things go. Or they're going to beat Texas A&M, and they're going to run the table and go 12-0. It's literally that's going to be the two things that happen.
I think there's a good chance they're 11-1. If they listen, it's week 1, so anything is happening. We were talking about this, or anything can happen. We were talking about this pre-show. Your line doesn't need to be perfect week 1 because everything for Texas A&M is not going to be perfect. I think it's going to come down to Riley Leonard is going to have to make one big play with his legs, and is it enough to vault them over the finish line and get the win?
See, the issue with this is Texas A&M's strength is their edge rushing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And
your weakness are your tackles.
When you are playing 2 first-time starting tackles, that is a big enough mismatch that it could completely torpedo your entire offensive game plan. Because if you don't, your quarterback's not going to have time to throw. And I don't care how athletic he is, you're not going to manufacture time to throw if you're getting your face caved in because your tackles can't hold up.
Yeah.
And they're just going to stack the box because, well, this guy doesn't have time to throw, so we're just going to jam everyone up at the line. And then you don't have any running lanes open. So I don't know, man. It's a terrible mismatch. I don't feel good about it. The only positive is at least the left tackle gets hurt at the beginning of camp. So Mike Denbrox has
multiple weeks to prepare.
He has a whole month to figure out, I wonder how I am going to neutralize this pass rush. The issue is he could figure it out very well, and it still doesn't matter. So my confidence for this game is at an all-time low to the point that I have money on Texas A&M -2.5.
I think if starting left tackle would not have gotten hurt, and I have felt the drop in Notre Dame fan vibes prior to that, I think I would have went over. I think I would have said 11-1.
I agree. And it's not even been the drop in the left tackle. It's been the left tackle gets hurt, and then the guy that they said who was going to replace him lasted all of 2 practices, and then they're like, oh, by the way, we're starting this true freshman who wasn't even that heralded of a recruit. Hey, and not that recruiting rankings are end-all, be-all, but that kind of gives me the ick. And granted, Joe
as a preseason All-American, freshman All-American, though. I came out today.
That's because he's probably the only fucking true freshman offensive tackle that's going to be starting game 1.
Potentially.
It's just not. It's bad vibes. The vibes are not good. And when you're listening to the podcasts, the beat podcast, and the vibes aren't good there, the vibes are not good at all. So I am pessimistic, but I still think they got a couple weeks to figure it out before they play Louisville. So we're gonna push.
Certainly.
Okay. Ohio State, Clinton, 10.5.
Over. 1 loss. It'll be to Michigan, Penn State, or Oregon, obviously.
Yeah, we talked about my fan theory last night. I think that they are going to lose to Oregon, but then avenge that in the Big Ten title game. Spoiler alert, there's my Big Ten title game. 11-1 regular season for the Buckeyes.
Not much else to talk about. They're loaded. We've talked enough about them. Oregon, 10.5.
I also have the over because I think they'll lose the following week to Purdue and then meet at 11-1 in the Big Ten title game. I'm 100% manifesting. I think the 2 most likely outcomes for Oregon this season are 12-0 or 11-1. So I'm going to take the over, and I feel pretty good about that pick.
It's all water under the bridge, they say.
Oh,
Oregon, under.
Wow, Clinton.
Oregon will be 10-2.
They
will lose to Ohio State, Michigan, or Wisconsin. They will lose 2 of those 3.
I'm definitely underselling how tough that Michigan game is going to be. That's going to be, I was going to say the toughest defense they face this year, but that's not true. It'll be the second toughest defense they face this season, but it's also an incredibly tough defense.
It's going November, right? And have you not been to a Michigan game in November when it's bitter cold? Didn't you almost lose your toes?
Well, that was 3 weeks later. This is that October-November turn. It could go either way.
Gotcha. I mean, you live there. You know better than I.
Yeah, it could go either way. It could go either way. It could be really cold, or it could be an unseasonably warm day.
Yeah. Hopefully it's cold. It makes it interesting.
Like when frickin' Clemson played at Notre Dame in November 2 years ago, and it was like 65 degrees for an 8 p.m. kickoff. I'm like, you got to be kidding me with this. Throw some snow down here.
Yeah, wait till Notre Dame makes the playoff, and then Alabama has to come up, and it's an unseasonably warm 65.
That 100% would happen if Nick Saban was still coaching them.
Yeah,
because that dude's got some deal with the devil where he's got Mother Nature on speed dial, being like, "All right, man, I need you to dial up about 62 and sunny for me tonight."
Yep, absolutely. No weather, especially snow.
I don't think
he actually retired because he didn't want to come to play at Wisconsin. Couldn't go that far north.
Heard it here first. You heard it here first. I don't think Kalen DeBoer has that same deal with the devil. So anyway, Penn State 10.5.
I went over. One loss, Ohio State.
I'm gonna go under.
Ooh, okay. So now we've got 3 difference.
I don't know who the second loss is going to be, but there's going to be a second loss.
Well, Matt Flip made a good point last Wednesday. So 6 days ago. No, today's Monday, 5 days ago. I don't know. Anyways, he made a good point. Penn State hasn't had one of those weird snafu losses in a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Rent comes due, folks. It comes due at some point.
They are due.
So is it a stumble over, I believe, what do they have, Maryland? Is it a stumble over USC? Is it a stumble? I think they also get Minnesota, right? Is it over Minnesota?
Wisconsin, West Virginia.
Yeah, West Virginia. Obviously, this blows my over-under prediction right away. If they lose to West Virginia week 1, they're going 10-2. They're feeling 10-2, just as Taylor Swift said. And they might go 9-3. You do not want to lose that game week 1. I
don't know about 9-3, but I think they're due for a weird loss, but they'll still be a playoff team. Okay, Clinton, Purdue 4.5. I think I know where you're going on this one. Yeah, I'm under
as
well.
Brutal schedule. I only have one lock win, and that's Indiana State. The rest I couldn't tell you.
I think they'll beat Oregon State. I mean, the fact that you have to travel for that, dude, they don't have anyone left.
They don't. Maybe I'm really underselling Purdue. I don't mean to be mean to the Boilermakers. I like them, other than the fact that you ruined my season a few years ago in 2018. But thanks, Rondale Moore. But other than that, I have no beef with them. Zach Edey, I don't really like him either. So I guess I got more beef than I thought with Purdue. But anyways, that is not affecting my decision at all.
Generational trauma coming out on this podcast.
I love Drew Brees. Okay, I like Drew Brees. But yes, I don't know. Maybe I'm being too harsh, but I still think they're under.
Yeah,
I just getting over that.
If they beat Oregon State, I think it could get interesting because I think they feasibly could find 3 more wins on this schedule. I think they'll probably be I think they're going to be 4-8. I think they'll just miss it. I don't think they're going to go like 2-10 or 3-9, but I do think that they will just miss that.
And my thought is don't necessarily. It's not a down 4-8. I know that's way under 500, but if you can be in more games this year and you show steps in the right direction and give Ryan Walters his chance, you can make 4-8 a positive here. It doesn't have to be a total.
Oh, sure. And
especially with this schedule.
Yeah, you're looking at you're playing 4 top 10 teams. This is that's the create a schedule on your NCAA 25 dynasty when you're just trying to get your Bowling Green Falcons into the national title game in NCAA 14.
Absolutely.
So it's hard to look at this and say over when you're looking at, I think their ceiling at the absolute, if everything goes right, is 4 or 8-4.
Mm-hmm.
But that's tough schedule, but I think they'll take a step forward this year. Next, Rutgers. We have 6 on the dot. I am way over on the Scarlet Knights this year.
I am way over as well.
Thought you were going to throw a curveball and say way under, and we were going to have some words.
You and I have been too much in a love affair since we had Steve on, and talking about Rutgers for this year. Everything feels right, smells right, looks right, tastes right. Greg Schiano and the Rutgers Scarlet Knights this year to be over 6, and I think push maybe 9 wins. They have the easiest schedule in the Big Ten.
Yep,
they're getting 2 lock wins right away with Howard and Akron. They only have to find 5 more wins on that schedule to eclipse the 6. They're getting it easy. Bet it hard. Rutgers over 6.
Yes. I I think it was Brett McMurphy has Virginia Tech in the playoff as an at-large team. I'm like, what the hell? No disrespect to the Hokies. Could they win the ACC this year? That's fine. I could see that. But I think he had Miami as the 3 seed and Virginia Tech as the 9 seed. Maybe I'm like, homie, the ACC is not getting 2 teams into the playoff. Please.
No, they better be
Please
damn
stop.
good if they do.
I guess I have Miami and Florida State in the playoff technically, so don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about.
This is for discussion a week from now, folks, I believe, when we do our playoff reveal.
Ryan,
we'll see.
He's crazy.
We'll see what Ryan has, or if he has a change of heart. Maybe he changes his mind within 7 days.
I will not change my mind. I'm not a flip-flopper.
UCLA sitting at 5. What do you got, Ryan?
We're going under.
Under.
Under the sea. There's just too much was lost. The strength of last year's team, that defense, they lost too much from it for me to be reasonably confident that it's going to be good enough for them this year. I think the offense could be fine, but my God, you're talking about tough schedules. They got that 3-week stretch in the middle of the season where you're going to LSU, hosting Oregon, then going to Penn State. That is brutal. Not just because of the teams you're playing, but the travel on that as well. I saw a graphic today on the internet that was like a diagram of UCLA's air travel this year, and it was absurd. The amount of air travel this team has.
Taylor Swift for emission rates. I've already said this 2 times. They're putting out so many toxic stuff into the air because of all this travel, especially. Are they at Hawaii?
Yep.
Oh my God. So I only gave them 2 locks. I said Hawaii and Fresno State. I think they're good enough by the end of the year.
I don't even think those are locks. I think Fresno State's a good team. Fresno State is a potential G5 playoff berth team.
I wonder if losing their coach so late is an impact for them.
Oh, it does for sure. That for me was going to be a trendy upset pick week 1, Fresno State over Michigan.
Yeah.
There's no chance with Jeff Tedford. I think Fresno State gets dog walked in that game. No pun intended for the Bulldogs. But by the end of the season, I think they'll be clicking on all cylinders. So that's going to be a tough one for UCLA to finish the season on.
It's also a very weird way to end your season.
The week after you play your rivalry game.
You go play a non-conference game?
I guess USC's doing the same thing.
Yeah, bass backwards.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, but at least they're playing a really good Power 5 program in Notre Dame. I'm not knocking Fresno, but I don't know. All right. The one I've been waiting for here. I'm chomping at the bit. The USC Trojans, 7.5. What do you got, Ryan?
I'm going to take the over just barely, but I'm going to take the over. I think they go 8-4 this year.
I'm going under.
I hope they go under. I hope they go under. These USC fans are pissing me off.
I did say it could go either way. I could see him a little above. I could see him a little under. The one thing I do disagree with, yes, I love interacting with some of the Trojan fans. I've had some good talks with them, but they are extremely high and confident that USC is going to walk into the Big Ten and just whitewash people. 11-1. I'm like, no chance in hell. You're going 11-1. You can't possibly fix your defensive line and offensive line enough to get to 11-1. I don't see it possible.
I need to see it. There's nothing, and this isn't just a Lincoln Riley at USC thing. This is a Lincoln Riley, his entire head coaching career. He's had one good defense in 8 years as a head coach.
And a good defense that's relevant to the Big 12?
Right. And we're sitting here and you're saying, well, it was definitely a scheme thing. They brought in all these new players. You brought in a bunch of new players last offseason, and your defense somehow got worse.
Yep.
Their defense, I thought it was not possible for the 2022 USC defense to be worse, and they found new lows last year. It was offensive how bad this defense was last year. And you think that you're just going to hire a new defensive coordinator, bring in 2 defensive backs in the transfer portal, and bippity-boppity-boo, you're going to be a top 40 defense? That is absurd. Look at the offenses on this schedule. Well, I guess there's not really that many good offenses on this schedule, so maybe it could be better. But I just their weakness last year was the run game. You think Michigan's not going to run the ball down their throat 55 times in that game? You don't think LSU's going to bludgeon them over the head that opening weekend in Vegas? You don't think Wisconsin's going to try to run it up their gut? You don't think Darius Taylor's going to go hog wild on this defense? Kyle Monungai, Nick Singleton, Katron Allen? They got the best of the best in the Big Ten running backs wise on this schedule.
Yep. I agree.
That's
I put it right in there. You're going to know a lot of who they are after the first month. LSU, Michigan, Utah State, Wisconsin. There's one bye week in there. But you could be looking at a team that is 1-3 at the end of September.
Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna fall hard, man, after that. Like as we said, the USC fans, I get the confidence. But what have you done for me lately? Pete Carroll? That's about the last time what have you done for me? I don't know. I don't see it right now. The cross country to Minnesota right after Washington or Wisconsin, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough one. And then you turn around, you got to get Penn State the next week at home.
Mm-hmm.
A Penn State team who we're both saying 10-2, 11-1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm sticking with my bold prediction. I said it. What do we do? Beginning of June? Rutgers will finish higher than USC in the final Big Ten standings. Book it. Take it to the bank.
This is the type of this schedule shakes out in a way for USC that if they get their ass kicked by LSU and Michigan and then they lose to Wisconsin, I think this team probably just quits.
Yeah.
Like they might go like 4-8 if that happens. Because then I could see them getting curb stomped by Minnesota and Penn State, and then all of a sudden you're 1-5.
Yeah.
If they start 1-5, they might Lane Kiffin, Lincoln Riley.
The Coliseum will be burned down. Lincoln Riley.
No, Clinton. They'll just not go back to not caring about football again.
I was going to say Lincoln Riley will take the Trojan horse out of town.
I don't. Okay, I'm going to go on record. I said over. They're not starting 1-5. However, I don't have to squint that hard to see it.
No, like it's feasible. Listen, if USC gets dealt Rutgers' schedule, I'm probably on the other side of this.
Oh, sure. Sure.
Probably 8, 9, 10 win team. You just got dealt a really hard schedule. It's not that I don't like USC. I think they got a lot of talent. I'm excited to see Miller Moss. I'm excited to see the quad sophomore at wide receiver. Quavius Marks at running back for Mississippi State. Bear Bryant on defense. Did I say Bear Bryant again? I did.
Definitely said Bear Bryant.
That's like the third time.
Bear Bryant is not reincarnated from the dead to play defensive tackle for USC.
Might help him a little bit. The skeleton bones might trip someone up better than their actual D lineman.
Okay, we're done with USC.
Enough raining on USC.
I can't deal with USC fans in our mentions anymore. All right, Washington 6.5. Clinton. I'm going under. I am about as out as you can be on a team as I am on Washington until proven otherwise.
Under pressure, na. Under.
I don't really have anything more to add than that. It's a tough schedule. You have. Speaking of travel, they don't move a whole lot the first month of the season. You got Weber State, Eastern Michigan, Washington State, Northwestern. You probably should start. They could start 4-0. Wouldn't surprise me. But then you're going to Rutgers, you're hosting Michigan, then you're going to Iowa before a bye week, then you're going to Indiana, hosting USC, going to Penn State. That sucks. That's a lot of travel too. I don't know how that is all going to play out for Washington. Could I see 7 or 8 wins? Yes, but I think they're going to be 6-6 this year.
Yeah, I got them probably around 6-6, 5-7 as well. They just lost so much; it's hard to replace it, and then you got to go to a new conference on top of that. And you got a coach that even Roman didn't agree with us, but you and I are in agreement on his eyeball on that Florida Gators job pretty hard.
Finishing up, we have Wisconsin. Flat at 7, Clinton. What do you have on the Badgers?
Push it. Push it.
You guys
push it real good.
I don't like this. I'm out on this.
It's a push.
No. Sorry. You stop this. You stop this nonsense. Hey, no, I don't got time for this.
Did you push it or did you go under?
No, I'm gonna go. I think they're gonna go 8-4.
Okay, I like it. I'm on that side.
I don't feel good about this pick. But like, what if they beat Alabama?
That's what I put in my notes right here. Beat Bama early and then watch out with the confidence that this team's going to have.
If they beat Alabama, they're going to be coming off of a bye week, going to the Coliseum at 3-0 and probably be ranked in the top like 15.
And then punch USC in the face and win another game.
But then after that, so let's draw up a little hypothetical scenario here. Let's say they beat Alabama. They're riding high. They beat USC. Then the 3 games after that are Purdue, at Rutgers, and at Northwestern. Like, they could be 8 and no shit. I can't do math. They could be 7-0 going into Penn State. Then that would be fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
The issue for Wisconsin is after this those first 7 games, you go Penn State, at Iowa, by a week, Oregon, at Nebraska and Minnesota. So, oh boy, I think push is probably the smart play here, but I don't know. I'm going to take some Luke Fickell magic, and I think that they're going to do something wacky this year and go 8-4 at least.
I did note one thing for them, and that was this schedule is very entertaining. I am looking forward to tuning in to almost every Wisconsin game, even a little bit with South Dakota, Western Michigan, because I think a lot of their success is not only going to rely on the progression of the offense in year 2 with Longo and Fickell, but TVD. Which Van Dyke are you getting? Are you going to get before degloving Van Dyke or at time of degloving? No. Can you get 2021 TVD? That's what you're looking for, right? If he's in there, this Wisconsin team's got a good chance to go 7 and above. Hey, we got a chat.
I don't think that I want at time of degloving TVD. That sounds painful and kind of grotesque.
Hey, look there. Jacob. Hey, Jacob, we love you, brother.
Love Wisconsin over 7. Got to prove something. That's what I'm talking about.
Preach, brother, preach.
He does have something to prove. I was high on him last year. I think I'm pretty sure I picked them to win the West. And I thought that they were going to win like 10 games last year, so I was pretty disappointed in how that played out. So hopefully they don't do that again.
I don't know. I think Fickell is such a great coach. We talked with, I won't say Ryan here, Ryan Herrings about Wisconsin. I don't think he's in a hot seat situation. I think it's too early, especially you're trying to revamp an offense. Wisconsin has been forever line up, smash mouth football. This is going to take time. I hope Badgers fans are patient because you have a really great coach here. Look what he did at Cincinnati. He took them to the playoff, man. Wisconsin is a big enough brand. Hell, if you just recruit offensive linemen from Wisconsin, you're probably going to have a top 10 offensive line in college football. You got to find the skill players to fix that. Now, hopefully we don't go too less of time giving Will Pauling the ball because you want your best player to have the rock, right? But we'll see what we get. I'm excited for Wisconsin. I really, really am. Speaking of which, that leads me into the question I came up with. Ryan, which Big Ten team are you most excited to see how their season plays out in 2024?
Well, hold on. Do you remember what I said? How many we were going to have at the start? How many we were going to have the same at the beginning of the show?
You said 14. I said 15.
We had 14.
Nice.
Bingo.
Nice. Hey, there we go.
All right, I'm going to keep this.
That's pretty good.
I got a sheet. Everyone's looking at the sheet. Hold on. I'm a notepad. Jesus Christ. On the notepad. It's going right in the desk here.
Aim a little lower. You were a bit blurry there.
I got the sheet.
I think it's there. I think I can see it with my eyeball. All right, I see it now. I see the sheet.
It's going on my desk. It's going to stay right here, and we're going to revisit this after Thanksgiving. We'll see who was right and who was wrong.
Turkey time.
Well, honestly, we had almost the same thing, so that's we're probably going to end up with the same record anyway. That's good radio. Good job, guys. You guys are doing terrific.
Now back to our final 2 questions. Who is the Big Ten team you're most excited to see in 2024? Or see how their season plays out. Most excited, most intrigued, whatever verb you want to use.
It's got to be it's got to be Michigan, man. Like it has to be. I mean, it doesn't have to be because I could legitimately go through this list and I could give you something that I'm like legitimately not fake excited for on like 13 or 14 of these teams. But like, if Michigan figures out the quarterback thing, like right away, I mean, they don't even need to figure it out right away. But if they figure it out by the USC game, like, are we sure that they're not going to win the national title again? I know I'm like all over the place on Michigan because I just don't think that they're going to figure it out. But if they do, Like they got the defense in place, and if they can teach Alex Orji to play quarterback and add that size and athleticism and that running capability, that's giving you a dynamic that you did not have with McCarthy last year.
Yeah.
Because he was a good runner. He was sneaky. I don't think he's even sneaky athletic. I think he's just athletic. But Alex Orji's a legitimate wrecking ball. And if you can teach that wrecking ball to harness that arm that he has and use his powers for good, that makes that offense dangerous. And on top of having what should be one of the 2 to 4 best defenses in the nation, they can make some noise.
My one asterisk to that would be Orji is not going to be able to make the passing plays and the tight windows that McCarthy did to pull out some of those games.
No, probably not.
He has the legs. But if we go a little NCAA football reference here, I go a little QB contain and hold him in the pocket. I'm going to let him run, and then I'm going to figure out to box you in. I'm going to make you throw to beat me. And I don't think he's going to be enough. Now, I agree with you, though. If they figure it out good enough, they're a playoff team, might win the Big Ten. I don't know if it's enough to win the national championship, but I think they're a playoff team if they get the quarterback figured out.
The thing with Michigan this season is if you look at like these lists of the best players in the country, if you like, they have like 4 of the top 20 players in the country.
Yeah.
And 3 of them are on defense. And that's a really damn good place to start building a roster. The issue is we don't know what the quarterback is. We don't know what the receivers are, and we don't know how the offensive line is going to come together. So that's a lot of questions, and that's why I am down on them. However, it would not surprise me in the least bit if we are talking about Michigan and Ohio State being a precursor to a Big Ten title game rematch.
That would be very fitting for this first year of the expanded Big Ten. Is they play at the end of November, and then everyone's like, well, it ain't going to matter because they're going to play again next week.
Yeah, right.
That would be really intriguing to see how that goes. My Big Ten team that I'm most excited to see how their season plays out in 2024. I had 3 listed, and I don't think I'm going to go with any of the 3 I had listed. I had Nebraska, Rutgers, and USC listed. But I think I'm going to go Wisconsin after we just talked Wisconsin. I am most intrigued with year 2 with Luke Fickell, Tyler Van Dyke. They always play good defense. They always have a good O-line. And with a very fun schedule, let's see if they can make some noise.
I agree.
All right. Last question of the night to drive us home. I think we've kind of got the idea of Ryan's, but I want to hear it officially. Ryan, give us your Big Ten championship game and your winner.
I mean, I said it yesterday. I think it's going to be Ohio State-Oregon rematching and Ohio State winning the rematch.
Didn't you make a bold prediction?
Yeah.
One of those 2 wouldn't make it?
I'm a hypocrite because I said I'm not a flip-flopper, and then I flip-flopped. I have no idea, man. I think I just did that. Like, put a gun to my head. What are you going to do? I'm going to go with the easiest route out of it. I do think, that's my pick because it's the easiest one. And if you look at both of their schedules too, like path of least resistance, there's not a lot of landmines on either of their schedules. They should both be unquite. Like if either of them is not undefeated heading into that game, something has gone terribly wrong.
Oh God.
Because their schedules before are not good football teams. I mean, I guess Ohio State has Iowa. I just don't think Iowa is going to move the ball past the 50-yard line in that game.
There's one way Iowa knocks off Ohio State. One
defense and special teams touchdowns.
Yes.
That's it.
If Will Howard has a JT Barrett-esque game and throws 4 interceptions, Iowa wins that game.
Yeah.
But they're not going to throw 4 interceptions because they're not going to throw it enough.
I was going to say, I think after the first 2, they would probably just pull him. But anyway,
or they just run.
No, I think like if you're going to make me put 2 teams down, I'm going to say it's going to be a rematch. But if you want what I think is actually going to happen is I think one of Oregon and Ohio State will be in the Big Ten title game, but the other will not. I don't know who the other team will be. Could be Penn State, could be Michigan, could be someone else entirely. But I think like my true prediction for the season is only one of those 2 teams is going to be in the Big Ten title game. I just don't know who the opponent will be. I don't know which of the 2 will make it, and I don't know who the opponent's going to be, but it's only going to be one of them.
I think it will be Ohio State Buckeyes with a rematch against the Penn
He's
State
going
Nittany
Penn State.
Lions.
I knew you were going to do that.
And I think the winner will be Ohio State. I think what's going to happen here is that Penn State obviously would be 10-2 in that scenario. No, 11-2 in that scenario.
Yep.
Both losses coming to Ohio State. And then I think they're going to have like an 8-9 game in the playoff. And I think they're going to lose the first playoff game to set Penn State fans afire with, well, we made it, but we lost to the big boys again.
I'm really fascinated to see what the playoff committee does with conference championship game losers, like how much they get penalized. Because like if Penn State is 11-1 going into, you said 11-1. If they're 11-1 going into that Big Ten title game, they'll probably be what, 6th at the lowest, 5th, 6th, probably.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they would fall.
Well, I mean, in theory, if they're 11-1 in the rankings, they'd probably be top 4 team. You just can't place that.
Well, I mean, it's no. I'm not talking about playoff seeding. I'm just talking about that final ranking because
I'd say top 4.
So if let's just say for the sake of argument, they head into conference championship game weekend ranked 4th at 11-1. They lose to Ohio State. Let's say it's like a 10-point game. So they didn't get their doors blown off, but it wasn't like a nail biter either. I'm curious to see what the playoff committee does to them. Like if they bump them down and they move them behind teams who did not play conference championship game weekend, or if they're just like, you don't get penalized, you played the extra game, this is where you are. Because if that's the case, they don't move them down at all, then Penn State could end up being the 5 seed, which my hot take is that's the easiest road to the semifinals.
Yeah.
Because you're getting the group of 5 champion and then you're playing probably the Big 12 champion.
Yeah. And I think your conference champion loser from any conference, that's the hardest path because you're going to play 17 games to win a national championship.
Yeah, everyone, I'm totally, as a Notre Dame fan, I am totally fine with Notre Dame never having a first-round playoff bye, but 100% always getting a bye conference championship game weekend because then you get that extra week to prepare for your opponent. You never have to worry about potentially playing a 17 game because you're absolutely right, especially in that Big Ten SEC where you're going to lose that conference title game, and then you're probably going to have to go and play another really good Big Ten or SEC team the following weekend. The saving grace is more often than not that'll probably be a home game for you, but still, that's a tough turnaround.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right, everyone. That is all for this evening. We will be back with you Thursday evening with picks. Pick show. It'll finally be a pick show.
We'll have a pick show, and we are. What was our other piece on there? I think we're doing a little Heisman favorite talk.
Yes,
maybe a little All-American Big Ten projections. We'll iron out the details, but there will be a little pick preview show to help set you up for what we're going to do when Week 1 gets here.
Yeah, so I think typically we're probably only going to. I mean, we'll pick big national games, but we're going to focus primarily on picking the Big Ten games or Big Ten related games, and obviously with non-con games, that's going to get a little bit more of that full national perspective as well. But since there's only 4 games this weekend, we're just going to pick them all because it's football and who cares?
And it's fun.
Someone will be right and someone will be wrong. And more likely than not, both of us will be wrong. So we'll see you back on Thursday for that one. Everyone, thanks again for tuning in this evening. Have a great night. Have a great week. And we'll see you. Wait. Oh, wow. There's a chat before we leave.
We got one chat left.
Cuse minus 16 over the Bobcats week 1 lock of the century. Get out of here, Jacob.
No chance in hell. You guys have statue, cement foot, Kyle McCord. Not happening.
Oh my gosh, Jacob. Get a life, Jacob.
Go Bobcats.
Go Bobcats. Wait a minute. That's week 1. Oh, no, I won't. Okay, never mind. I'll yell at you that following week, Jacob. I'll see you after class. All right, y'all. We'll catch you on Thursday.
See ya.